I'm here to help. Certainly. A sound plan. Is there danger? Of course. A sound plan. The light is my strength. I'm here to help. I stand for the light. Certainly. For honor. A sound plan. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. A sound plan. Foul name. Justice shall be done. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. For honor. Of course.
First blood.
I stand for the light. Of course. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. Of course. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. For honor. Of course. I'm here to help. The light is my strength.
Betrayer of the light.
A sound plan. For honor. Certainly. Of course. For honor. Certainly. A sound plan. Of course. A sound plan. Is there danger? I stand for the light. Certainly. For honor. The light is my strength. Of course. For honor.
Justice has come.
I stand for the light. Of course. For honor. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. The light is my strength. I'm here to help. I stand for the light. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. For honor. A sound plan. For honor. Of course. Certainly. Of course. For honor. Certainly. Of course. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. For honor. A sound plan. Of course. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. Of course. For honor. The light is my strength. Of course. I'm here to help. Is there danger? I stand for the light. Certainly. I'm here to help.
Feel my wrath.
Of course. For honor. Certainly.
For my father the king.
Point away.
We need more
Justice shall be done.
Point away.
Is there danger? A sound plan. I stand for the light. The light is my strength. Certainly. I stand for the light. A sound plan. Justice shall be done. Of course. A sound plan. I'm here to help. Certainly. The light is my strength. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. Of course. A sound plan. Certainly. For honor.
You are past redemption.
Justice shall be done. A sound plan. The light is my strength. Of course. Justice shall be done. I'm here to help. Is there danger? I stand for the light. A sound plan. Certainly. A sound plan. Certainly. Justice shall be done. For honor. A sound plan. Certainly. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. For honor. Of course. For honor. A sound plan. Of course. For honor. A sound plan. Certainly. For honor. Of course. For honor. A sound plan. Is there danger? Light is my strength. I'm here to help. Hello there! Is there danger? For honor. A sound plan.
Betrayer of the light.
Of course. I'm here to help. I stand for the light. For honor.
You are past redemption.
Justice shall be done.
Betrayer of the light.
Of course. A sound plan. Of course. Certainly. The light is my strength. I'm here to help. Of course. For honor. A sound plan. Certainly. For honor. A sound plan. The light is my strength. Certainly. For honor. Of course. Certainly. Of course. A sound plan. For honor. A sound plan.
Feel my wrath. Betrayer of the light.
Of course.
We're under attack! Foul knave.
Certainly. Justice shall be done. A sound plan. For honor. Certainly. For honor. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. I'm here to help. Is there danger?
For my father, the king.
We're under
The light
attack!
is my strength. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. I stand for the light. Of course. The light is my strength. For honor. Certainly. Is there danger? For honor. A sound plan. I'm here to help. Justice shall be done. The light is my strength. I stand for the light. Justice shall be done. For honor. Is there danger? Certainly. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. For honor. Of course. Justice shall be done. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. Of course.
Feel my wrath. For Lord Oran. You are past redemption.
I stand for the light. Certainly. A sound plan. I'm here to help. Justice shall be done. Is there danger? For honor. Certainly. I stand for the light. Justice shall be done. Of course. For honor. Of course. Is there danger?
We're under attack!
Stand for the light. Justice shall be done. For honor. Is there danger? I'm here to help. Certainly. Is there danger? I'm here to help. For honor. Certainly. Of course. A sound plan. I stand for the light. Certainly. For honor. A sound plan. Of course. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. For honor. I'm here to help. A sound plan. Certainly. A sound plan. Justice shall be done. For honor. A sound plan. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. For honor. Of course. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course.
Betrayer of the light.
A sound plan. Certainly. A sound plan.
Foul knave.
Certainly. For honor. Of course. light is my strength. A sound plan. Of course. Certainly.
Betrayer of the light.
For honor. Certainly.
Justice has come.
A sound plan. For honor. I stand for the light. Of course. Certainly. Justice shall be done.
We're under attack!
I'm here to help. I stand for the light. A sound plan. Is there danger? Of course. A sound plan. For honor. A sound plan. Justice shall be done.
Double kill!
I stand for the light. Of course. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. For honor.
For Lord Oran.
A sound plan. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. For honor. Certainly. For honor.
Feel my wrath.
Certainly. For honor. The light is my strength. Of course. Certainly. Of course. Foul.
We're under attack!
For my father, the king. Certainly. A sound plan. Certainly. Of course. I stand for the light. Justice shall be done. Certainly. A sound plan. Of course. For honor.
Feel my wrath.
The light is my strength.
Justice has come.
A sound plan.
Feel my wrath.
For honor. Certainly. Justice shall be done.
Betrayer of the light.
Of course. A sound plan. For honor. I stand for the light.
Point the way.
Is there danger? A sound plan. Certainly.